Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/thenerdcore. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Hello, nerds. You're listening to an episode on the Nerdcore podcast feed. If you're feeling generous, please consider pledging to a tier on our Patreon at patreon.com/thenerdcore. We have tiers as low as $1 per month. Thanks so much, and enjoy the episode.
Hey everyone, before we can get into today's episode, I need to talk to you all about Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast and is the platform I've been using for over 2 years. Anchor is easy because it's free, includes creation tools on your tablet or phone from the get-go, rewards creators with sponsorships with no minimum listenership, and best of all, they distribute your podcast to places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and many more. So if you want to make a podcast, you should download the Anchor app or visit anchor.fm. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome back. You're listening to the Nerdcore Podcast, the podcast that reviews movies and talks that nerd shit. This is episode 303, and it is your third review of Andrei Tarkovsky Film Month here at the Nerdcore. As always, is the Nerd Chicano here to host the show alongside my wonderful co-host, Young Yoda.
Sup, everybody. Let's talk about another depressing Russian movie today.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It seems to be the brand for this week. Of course, we have Ayden with us again.
Hello, it's me again. I have Arby's gift cards.
Ski, motherfucker.
Oh my god. Okay. We can gonna bypass that. All right. Well,
Your
yeah.
mocha shakes in your face.
Oh, good. Shut up. All right. Yeah, we're gonna move on for that. So, unless you want to find out about what a pastor was using to elicit sex on Grindr, then you guys might want to go and check out an article that I found on the good old Google. But yeah, today we're talking about Ivan's childhood. But before we get into that, how's everybody doing today?
Not bad.
Doing pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty good. Upright, still breathing, you know? All those good things.
All you can ask for.
All you really asked for, right? So after today, we will be officially caught up. And then next week, hopefully things will start to look a little bit normal. But it will be holiday time next week. So it's going to be tough for the feed to be normal. But I promise you guys, in January, everything goes back to normal. That's for sure. And also, the Star Wars review should be coming soon in like the next 2 weeks. I'm watching it on the Christmas morning, so the 24th. I got the best day because that's the day when nobody goes to the movies.
Wait. There's theaters open on Christmas?
Yeah, on Christmas Eve, bro. 24th.
Oh, Christmas Eve. Okay.
Yeah, not the morning.
Sorry. I thought you meant Christmas Day. I'm like, people make people work at the movie theater on Christmas Day?
No. I'm going Christmas Eve.
A thing sometimes too, isn't it? Like what? Christmas.
Well, I know, like Chinese restaurants are open and everything because of different religious aspects, but
yeah,
I didn't know movies.
Remember when I did my interview with RB3? RB3 said that on Christmas morning he goes to watch movies with his mom. So I'm guessing that it is true that there's some movie theaters that are open on Christmas Day. But whatever, man. You know, some people don't have a big family to go, spend Christmas morning with, so might as well go to the movie theater.
Well, actually, now I'm thinking that's a way to get from spending time with my family. So
exactly, that's why they stay open, so you can just ditch your family and be like,
I gotta go see Star Wars. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, well, I asked you like, hey, it's not a problem if we go and watch on the 24th in the morning Star Wars, right? And he goes, no, that's better. Get out of the kitchen, get out of the house. So if you guys want to know what we're working with over here, I'm going to be watching on the 24th. So then we should hopefully get a review sometime soon. At least there will be one on the site for sure. But podcast we'll have to wait until Brad watches. So we'll see. But I mean, look, Brad's getting a really good idea right now. Just having to ignore his family, just go watch a movie instead.
I'm kind of enjoying that idea. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. So today's movie is Ivan's childhood. And lucky for us, It was released in 1962. So we don't care about what you guys are going to say about spoilers. So whatever. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about this movie already. Ivan's Childhood. I do not know how to say these in any other language but English. Well, except for Spanish, but I know how to say that. Sometimes released as My Name is Ivan. In the United States, is a 1962 Soviet war drama film directed by Andrei Tarkovsky. The first feature film and co-written by Mikhail Popova and an uncredited Tarkovsky, based on Vladimir Bogmalov's 1957 short story Ivan. I'm not gonna read that in Russian because I don't know how to pronounce that. The film features child actor Nikolai Burkyav.
It's not even a K in the.
Burkyav. Along with Valentin Zurkov, Evgeny Zarikov, Stepan Krylov. Why couldn't everything be that easy? Stepan Krylov. Nikolai Grinko.
Hey, Nikolai Grinko's back.
There we go. He's back. And Tarkovsky's wife, Irma Rausch. That's easy. Why can't it be that easy? Ivan's Childhood tells the story of an orphan boy, Ivan, whose parents were killed by the invading German forces, and his experiences during World War II. Ivan's Childhood was one of several Soviet films of its period, such as The Cranes Are Flying and Ballad of a Soldier, that looked at the human cost of war and did not glorify the war experience, as did films produced before the Khrushchev thaw. In a 1962 interview, Tarkovsky stated that in making the film, he wanted to convey all his hatred for war, and that he chose childhood because it's what contrasts most with war. Ivan's Childhood was Tarkovsky's first feature film. It won him critical acclaim and made him internationally known. It won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival in 1962, and the Golden Gate Award at the San Francisco International Film Festival in 1962. The film was also selected as the Soviet entry in the first foreign language film at the 36th Academy Awards, but was not accepted as a nominee. Here we go again. Famous filmmakers such as Ingmar Bergman, Sergei Parkov, Krzysztof Gruzowski praised the film as and cited it as an influence on their work. By the way, Krzysztof Gruzowski, another one we need to be talking about here on the podcast. That's a great filmmaker, Brad.
I like this month where we just butcher names.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, listening to Raul try to read Russian names is fucking great.
Yeah, it's worse than me trying to read Swedish.
It's not a K in sight.
Yeah, maybe Ayden will want to join us for a Christoph month. So
yeah, and I can maybe actually pronounce it right.
Christoph, yeah, Christoph.
Krzysztof Kieslowski.
Yeah.
Oh wow, he's just fuck.
I've seen
in a neighborhood, so that I got that one.
I've seen. That's why he's got the Polish flag in his room, so that way
it's in my living room.
So that way they know what's up, right? So that way they don't get mad at you and they're like, "Oh, who's this white boy around here?"
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, at least he's Polish."
Yeah, what's it called? Christoph. I watched a short film about love. That's the one I've watched from him. Incredible movie. And I would really like to talk about his work because that's the only one I've watched. Of course, I have to do the Three Colors trilogy soon. But yeah, I guess I want to go into my initial thoughts since this was my pick. Dude, the balls on Tarkovsky, man. He has some big old balls. Imagine making a movie at the height of censorship in Russia, basically, digging into Russia's involvement in the Second World War, especially. Like, holy crap! Like,
yeah, for a first film, that's
pretty
heavy. Heavy topics to go into, like, especially in Russia.
Oh yeah,
Russia didn't fuck around.
Yeah, so like the balls on this dude, man. I can't believe they even let him make this.
And not only that, but the use of child soldiers.
Yeah. So this movie is quite the one to begin with when his career and I think that it's also I gotta bring up the thing I tweeted about. It's interesting that the first opening shot in this movie is of a child with a tree with a tree, and the last shot in his last movie is again a child in a tree. So I mean, we could take what we want from there and kind of talk about that later. But this movie is ballsy. It's very ballsy for a first time filmmaker. It's very ballsy for a Russian first time filmmaker, especially in Soviet Russia, when not a lot of people were being able to criticize the government, especially under Stalin's regime.
Yeah.
So I really got to just hand it off to Tarkovsky for making this. This is definitely one of those war movies that is not even based really on the action, but more like what war does to people and what war especially does to children. So those are my initial thoughts. Ayden, you want to go next, or Brad, whichever one?
Yeah, I can go, I guess.
Yeah, because Brad's
yeah, Brad's dead. I thought this was a really interesting way to portray war. Who's echoing also? What the fuck? Portray war like just through like a child, and not necessarily through like a child that's just like observing it, I guess, like that's not partaking, I guess, to also have him like be a little like child soldier, like a spy. And to like have more balls than like some of the adult soldiers, I guess. So he like shows up and he's just like ordering this guy around, which is really interesting, I guess. And then just like the black and white tonality of it was really some spicy shit.
Oh yeah, especially the what's it called? Those Dutch angles in there again. Once again, one of my phrases here on the Nerdcore. You just incorporating a lot of them Dutch angles, man.
Well, and also black and white movies. I always like the use of lighting, especially in the older movies.
Mm-hmm.
The use of that natural lighting. And then also the way he used explosions and flares. I'm like, where the fuck did he find dynamite and shit? It's Russia, though, so I mean, it's probably laying around somewhere.
Pretty much.
And then also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but he included clips of actual like historic moments of like Goebbels' death when Goebbels was burnt and his family died of suicide. That was an actual clip.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of clips that were.
That's wild too, because I know how like some people are very, very against actual clips of actual disasters being shown in a movie.
You know who that reminded me of though, Ro?
Who?
It reminded me of Bergman with the burning of the monk.
Yeah.
That actual clip.
Yeah.
Which, once again, that's also really ballsy. Like, holy crap! Like, you're actually going to include something like that in there, and but yeah, that kid was a really good actor too. By the way, I really got to give props to him.
They were all really good actors, and actress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I do say I'm not sure exactly why Masha was there.
Me neither.
Yeah.
He got some good shots, like where is it the colonel or the lieutenant kisses her over the trench? Like he got some good shots out of it.
That was a really interesting. Yeah, he's just like, I'm just gonna hang you over this trench.
Yeah, and kiss you. Like, you can't run away. I mean, you got stuck. It's just that seemed kind of awkward because you're like, oh, in this day and age, you'd be going to HR, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that whole scene in the pine forest, those shots. God, that was awesome.
That was
just the way he's slowly moving around like one take, and then it just all kind of like dives into this that one part where he's just hanging her over the trench, and I thought that was a really, really interesting shot. And from clips I've seen, next week's movie, that might just be the one, like the second best shot that he's done yet, because Sacrifice is pretty up there, but next week's movie might just be up there too. But like, you can tell that this is his movie where he's kind of trying to understand his style a little bit, because he's making compromises with the cinematography where he's like, okay, I'm kind of making it the basic movie from this time, but he's also incorporating those really long takes like he doesn't do quite as much until like the next movies he does.
Yeah, he was still definitely searching for his style here.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing a lot of different things for sure. Well, and I know it said that Ingmar Bergman cited him as an influence, but I think Bergman influenced him quite a bit as well in this.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of those natural landscape shots, and again, the whole cutting the historic scenes into it. So I think Bergman also had quite influence on his first film.
Yeah.
I think so, for sure.
So, yeah, Andre, you genius. Like, I want to talk about that. Like, just, I don't know if that's really him intentionally doing it in the sacrifice, putting the tree and the kid, or, you know, because of the first movie he did. And it's like, wow, like, you know, this is where my mind finally goes. And he's like, I think that he knew he was going. He was leaving. He was going to be dead soon. So he said, I really got to wrap my career up. So I just want to end it where I started it, with a kid and a tree, basically symbolizing once again the innocence of children in wartime, and also just the innocence of children in the sacrifice, the innocence of this one kid who just doesn't know what's going on, but you know, he's just watching everything kind of unfold. And once again, another movie where it deals with the consequences of war on a family.
Well, and I think you see in this movie, the innocence of a child is just stripped away by the death of his parents. His father being killed on the front lines, and then his mom, I'm guessing, being gunned down at some point.
Yeah. And then that scene where he's basically telling that one person, and he's like, you know, goes, I'm gonna be there at your trial when you're being basically jailed for your crimes and the stuff you did. Like, you got to remember me. Like, you basically killed my fucking family and everything. And it's really crazy, all those lines coming from that kid and just how much emotion he's pouring into it.
Well, and just how hardened this kid has become.
Yeah.
Through all this trauma. This kid had PTSD for sure.
Yeah.
But through the trauma, like the soldier asked, "Are you afraid?" with all the bombs going off? He's like, "No."
No.
Yeah, the kid doesn't give a fuck. He's just
no.
I'm just trying to kill some fucking Germans.
And I mean, that's why they're like, "We're sending you to military school." He's like, "Nah, no, you aren't."
Nah, you're not.
Yeah, what did he say? Like, when someone said like military school is the right place for you, he's like, no, it's for like cowards or some shit who don't want to fight. He's just like, fuck you, dude.
And I think one point they said that he was out for vengeance, and that's really what this movie was. Him looking to avenge the death of his family.
Yeah, of course. And it's, once again, it's showing how badly war can corrupt someone, especially such a young mind as a child who the only thing on his mind right now is he wants to get revenge for what they did to his parents. And he will he'll put his life on the line for a country that probably does not care what happens to its citizens when they're out there on the front lines. But his only thing that he wants to do is just get revenge for his parents. And I think also if this is Tarkovsky showing like this is what it was like during the time. This is what I'm giving you this so I can document to you in the most fictional way he can, to tell you like what happened at the time of the Second World War in Russia. It's wild. Like, you know,
I really enjoyed the ending part.
Yeah,
where he uses, so basically that all that German area has been bombed out and looted through and destroyed.
Yeah,
but he uses the sound of Ivan being basically taken out of his prison cell and sent to hang. He doesn't show anything, but it's just as powerful through sound and through imagery of basically his last locations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ayden, anything else?
I don't know. I think that is it. This is definitely it. All of them have had kind of a different feel, I guess. Yeah. I think this one, I'm kind of decide if I like this one more over Stalker or not.
That's hard for me because what's it called? When I think about, I'm thinking Stalker, and I think just how stylized that one is. Like, that's really Andre.
Yeah.
In his most form.
I enjoyed this movie. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the other two.
Yeah.
But that might be because I'm now used to Tarkovsky's use of color.
Yeah.
And just how he gets those greens, and he used that sepia tone in Stalker and all of that. I think I've gotten used to just that. Whereas, you know, to me, the best person I've seen use black and white, or the people is Kurosawa and Bergman, who used the natural lighting.
Yeah,
that's who I think black and white. I don't think he was up to that par in this movie. Then again, it was his first.
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
But just his use of colors in those other movies, that's some of the best cinematography and use of colors I've seen in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for those eras too. That was phenomenal. Yeah, so I think this one I would probably say it's probably below the other two for me right now, but it was still really interesting in its own.
Yeah, it's still really interesting. It's probably one of the better war movies I've seen because I feel like this is something I said. It's something I said when I watched 1917. After you watch one war movie, you pretty much watch them all. But with this one, I've never seen one that concentrates on a child soldier.
Yeah.
It was quite different, too. I mean, compared to like Saving Private Ryan or any other war movie, this one told a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that it's interesting. Like, once again, it's interesting that none of these are accepted for nominees. Once again, I believe it is probably because of the U.S.
It was Russian and USSR.
USSR at the time.
Yeah.
With the relations with the U.S. and, you know, like, once again, I think I had a discussion with my friend, and he was like, you know, I think the reason that Tarkovsky isn't as well known in the U.S. is because just Iron Curtain and really how Russian movies and stuff never made its way completely over to the United States until later, which was pretty bad because you know, by the time it came up here, people were already, you know, pretty much forgotten that Russia had a pretty damn good cinema.
Yeah, and I think even now it's like it was slower to get over here. Like once it came over here, people were still hesitant to watch it. So
and like, you know, knowing how knowing the relations with Iran, you know, the United States, the United States people still, you know, have a pretty damn good grasp on Iran's cinema too. You know, but it just seems that with Russia, it has never made its way over here in the way that it should have. But and this one I gotta say this one was probably my least favorite. But that's not saying I didn't like the movie. I really like this one.
It was a good movie.
Between these other two, this one was not up there with these other two, and I think that's because we started with those other twos, and we saw what he could do with color, so we were like, "Damn!" Like,
yeah. I think it'd been different had we started with this one and then worked our way. We might have felt differently, but after just getting what he could do with film that was colorized, I mean, this one it lacked.
Yeah. Well, blame the wheel for that because you won. So
Brad, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
We still have one more movie left for next week, and then we have The Mirror for the Patreon Mini. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But next week we're going to have Tarkovsky's response to Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, which he absolutely hated.
Oh, that's gonna be a good discussion with you.
Oh, that's gonna be a great one. You know, I love Kubrick and I love Tarkovsky so far, so you know, I don't care what his opinions on Kubrick was, but you know, like, I know that he notoriously hated Kubrick, so yeah. But then again, Tarkovsky hated a lot of things from America.
I mean, he was Russian, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I like Tarkovsky because he obviously has a lot of criticism towards the United States. But he's also very critical about his own country and his own government at the time.
So could be why they might have could have killed him.
We will never know, Brad. We will never know.
I'm not saying anything, so don't quote me.
All right, man. Anybody want to take a crack at a number?
Oh,
I don't know about this one.
Maybe an 8. I think an 8 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because the other ones are high 9s or 10s.
Honestly, I really gotta wait for next week. I think next week's, you know, that's gonna might crack it. So, you know, we'll see. But because I know that there's The Mirror. I heard that The Mirror is really good. And by the way, I found it on YouTube.
Yeah. Is
It's on
that
Criterion too.
Yeah,
is it Spanish subtitles or is it English subtitles?
English. But there's another video I found with Spanish.
Nice.
Learn Spanish, bitch. That's right. All right. Well, I'm not going to take a crack at the number, and Ayden looks like he's going to wait for the end of the month. So next week we'll talk about it, and next week we are going to watch Solaris. Really, really interesting sci-fi film. And
Can I just say that I'm just glad we had one film that was under 2 hours?
yeah, we're actually going to have two.
I thought the length of that one was pretty nice. Yeah, I think the mirror is pretty short too, right?
Yeah, Mirror
Yeah,
is
it's like
an hour and
147.
58, I think.
Okay.
147 on Criterion.
Oh, 147. I'm sorry.
Your Spanish one's longer.
No, it's not. I don't remember the numbers. I just take a wild guess. But yeah, apparently my Spanish one was like, learn Spanish, bitch. All right, let's go ahead and get into the producers.
We're making that into a shirt, by the way. Learn Spanish.
Spanish, bitch. Oh, that's great. That's great. It's definitely gonna go well with certain people who do. Yep. Let's go ahead and get into the producers. So December producers, because they're awesome people who helped us out here to get this new laptop that I'm recording on. We have ourselves Ninja Flippy, Man Captain Pokey, Esports Phoenix, Literally Nico, Emerus, Pages Beaston, Brown Rice 1996, who is also, excuse me, I want to burp into the microphone, who is also a executive producer of the podcast, and Sarah with 2 A's, MEMM, who is an associate producer of the podcast along with Cassie. Our other executive producers are Grayson Barker 98 on Instagram, or Hibben 98 on Twitter, and Shane. Where can they find him?
You can find our friend Shane at twitch.tv/SWRKK or on Twitter at SWRKK Twitch.
All right, cool. We're going to have ourselves a nice going away, and we're going to go ahead and leave you guys with the wonderful notion that we discussed a movie that has, what's it called, that was before 1969, so suck it. You guys got spoiled. Whatever. There was no warning. So, Ayden, we will see you next week. Unless you want to submit your favorite movies, movie of 2019, we'll have you after next week. But, yeah. Brad, we got to stick to that. We got to do it because we always do our end of the year list. So,
Yep.
Next week we got to do it. But
this year we watched a shit ton more movies, I think, any previous year.
So I did the catalog I built the catalog. For me, I don't know about theater, but the movies that we discussed on the podcast, we have done 101 so far. So, yeah.
We made over 100 shit.
Yeah, like movies that we've discussed on the podcast. That was me because we've done a couple extra on the Nerdy Chicano show. But like I counted the movies that I watched on AMC and the other ones. I've got like 40 movies I watched this year. So that was a lot. Like, new movies that came out this year. So that's wild. That's really wild.
Yeah.
I think I've been to the theater more times this year than any other year ever.
Yep.
I haven't been too much. I need to get back. I think last year I did a little bit more.
Shut up, man. You went to New York Film Festival. So.
It's mostly been my local theater because they play weird shit some days.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Anybody want to come and watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? It's playing at mine.
Spanish.
In Spanish. All right. Go and check out the website, thenerdcore.com, and go and check out, their Twitter, the Nerdcore _ Instagram at the Nerdcore. And Ayden, he's at aburns152, of course, or Ayden.Burns152, right?
Yeah, aburns152 is Twitter, and Ayden.Burns is Instagram.
Cool. You guys should go check out my website, raulemendoza.com. I updated the photography page, so you guys can go see some new stuff that's on there. And I am currently looking for somebody to shoot in the Bronzeville area for my film, for my roll of color film. Ayden should be proud of that, right?
Yep. Ultramax, yeah.
Yes, sir. Ultramax.
Yeah, I just my roommate just shot a roll of like expired Ultramax. It came out interesting.
Damn. All right, man. We'll see you guys later, and we'll talk to you all next week when we talk about Solaris. In the meantime, it's been your Nerd Chicano. I'm signing off. Brad, send him into the podcast void.
All right, Ro. Thank you for being host as always. Thank you, Ayden, for joining us again.
Hell yeah.
I think it's a record now. I think you've got it.
No, he's the
You
most
got it
for
in
sure.
the bag, Ayden.
Hell yeah.
We beat Julia.
Oh, thank you to all our listeners out there, all our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. Join us in the next episode. And I guess to end this one, I'll just say, do not mix your horsey sauce and your Jamocha shake. Young Yoda out.